Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots. Sorry for the delay, but I was doing a little thing like moving to California. We're back with a new episode. It's a big episode. It's the King of the Ring, and it's Austin. It's the birth of Austin 316. And Andrew, WWE likes to they like to act like it clicked, and like when he said it in the moment, it clicked, and everyone was like, "That's it." But I mean, the reality is, I think when the show is over, I think most people are like, "Oh yeah, he'll be a good in the ring," but like it's time to go on with my life. I don't think anyone realized the momentous occasion this show was. Um, that's not taking away from how momentous it was, and I also thought it was a much better show than I remember. What did you think of the show overall?
Well, I've never watched this show. This was the first time I've seen the complete King of the Ring 1996, and um some of it was good, some of it was not good. So it's kind of like if Austin never blows up, right? Let's just say
Yeah.
Austin never becomes like he's Stone Cold Steve Austin, but it never becomes as big as he is. He's just like an edge level character. I don't
Mm.
think this King of the Ring 1996 would be memorable. If you take that
Yeah,
away, if you take away
you're right
Austin blowing
about
up,
that. You're right
what?
about that. No, you're right about that. But
Mm,
and as we're gonna watch the next few shows, it's not like he becomes a big deal right away. It takes Bret Hart coming back, and
yes.
his I think his match with Bret Hart make a big deal. But this is where that catchphrase starts, and he's doing a lot of things in this match that when he does them a year ago or 2 years from now, the crowd like goes nuts. Like he does like the thing when he comes to the ring for the final match with Jake Snake, he climbs the turnbuckles and puts his arms out, and nobody reacts. And it's like, yo, 2 years from now, people are gonna go ballistic for this guy. Like it's amazing like how big this guy gets. And I was watching the four-part Who Killed WCW, and they're blaming Turner, they're blaming Bischoff. I would say Steve Austin killed WCW. Because like
Well,
I
people have. You do, I don't know if do you remember back in 1999, 2000, people were saying that Austin and The Rock, the combo, the right left combo of
I think
Austin
I
and The
think it was
Rock.
more the rise of Austin, and I think he's the guy. And you know why I blame him more than The Rock is because WCW had him. They had him when he was figuring it out, and they let him go. They let him lose like a bitch to Hacksaw Jim again 2 years before this, and they just fired him. And now he's about to change everything. But it's
But
not
not
he's not
yet,
going to change
not
everything.
at this pay per
Not
view. Yeah,
tonight. Not tonight.
no,
Barely
not
changed.
tonight. So we're gonna talk about it. King of the Ring, 1996. To battle is honor. To win is hell. Whatever the heck that means. I don't even know idea what that means. This takes place June 23rd in 1996. This is actually 7 days after WCW's Bash at the beach, right? So
Mhm.
these
You
pay
mean
per
you
views
mean
are
Great American Bash?
Great American Bash. I apologize. Great American Bash. Sorry. It's been a while since we've done a paper podcast.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's 7 days after Great American Bash. So this is like head to head W with a WCW pay per view, a WWF pay per view. So Great American Bash. This is just gonna do some comparisons. Had 9,000 people. King of the Ring had 8,762,000 people. So pretty close. Great American Bash had 170,000 pay per view buys. King of the Ring 158,000 pay per view buys. So 7 days apart. Great American Bash is slightly drawing more and getting more viewers than King of the Ring. And you know what? It's fair because I think that Great American Bash was probably a better pay per view. Um, However, this is not to take away from King of the Ring 1996 as King of the Ring 1995, the one right before, had 150,000 pay per view buys. So it's slightly better in pay
This
per
is
view.
definitely a better show than '95 King of the Ring. '95 King of the Ring is
Oh
dreadful.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's 1995 was just a bad year overall for everybody.
Yeah,
It was
they
a terrible year for
they
everybody.
should all be
No,
ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, 1995 was like that transition year, and not only in WWF but in WCW, where it was like the final it was like the final breath of the really corny cartoony gimmicky characters, I feel like.
Well, I don't know about horny, but definitely cartoony. I don't remember anyone being horny.
There was some of this stuff is corny, like,
You said corny. I thought you said horny. But we're
no,
about to
no,
see
horny
more
too.
horny characters in
No, no, no.
WWF.
No, we now start getting into horny characters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We they exchange the corny characters for horny characters. So anyway, this pay-per-view, King of the Ring, we have Owen Hart comes out first. He comes out in a tuxedo and his Slammy Awards. He barges in uh on Vince McMahon Jr. and Jim Ross on commentary because Owen's gonna be joining on commentary. And we're gonna get, before the first match, we get a recap of Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin, qualifying for the King of the Ring, and also them saying he debuted the Stone Cold Stunner on Savio Vega, and they were like, "Oh, this is a devastating finisher, guys." And then they recap Marc Mero qualifying. What?
No more $1 million dream.
No more, yeah, but they really put over the stunner. It looked good too. Vega takes it well. We get a recap of Marc Mero qualifying for the King of the Ring as well, and then beating on Owen Hart too. And Owen Hart cheap shots Marc Mero afterwards. So you would think Owen Hart being on commentary and Marc Mero being his first match is going to be some like shenanigans, but there ends up being nothing like that. So it was kind of weird. I was like, oh, that's why Owen's on commentary, and then like nothing happens. I was
No,
like, oh,
I
this
think
is
they just wanted to try Owen on commentary. He does commentary too for the Kuwaiti Cup, which I've seen clips of on the other WWE DVDs. Like they'll show matches, but I've never seen the full show. But they had him doing commentary here and there. I wouldn't be surprised if Vince was toying with the idea of making him a commentator back then.
no. Yeah, I get that, and Owen is actually good on commentary, but like, why are you recapping like the Marc Mero Owen Hart feud?
Well, they do have a match at SummerSlam, so
Oh, okay. This is kind of weird. I was expecting there to be something in this first
well,
match after,
but
even after.
also back then, if the announcer attacked somebody, they'd have to go away for the show, and I don't think they wanted Owen to go away for the show. They wanted him to.
Well, you don't actually necessarily have to have him like fight. You could just, after the match, Mark Merrill gets ringside and he like goes like, "Oh, fuck you, Owen Hart." Like, and Owen Hart stands up and Junior has to be like, "Hey," and like, Jim Ross will be like, "Hey, if you hit him, Owen, you're out of here. You're gonna get fired and stuff." So, like a confrontation at least. There's nothing, and it's like,
I think they
it,
won't. They want. I don't think they just want to focus on Mark Merrill losing like a bitch to Austin. So.
yeah, then you shouldn't have shown the Owen Hart Mark Merrill thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like it led nothing. Why would you even show that then?
Well, because it's going to lead to stuff down the road.
Yeah, I guess. But you could show that later on. I don't know. It just seemed really dumb for
Well,
them.
they don't acknowledge it's stupid because it just happened. Like, I know what you're saying, but like, they wanted Owen just to sit there, and like they know they were gonna address it later on. They have to address. It just happened on the show, so like, oh yeah, this is what happened, but like, they're not gonna hit each other tonight.
That didn't happen on this. What doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I mean, it happened in the ether, in the continuity, and
Okay. So anyway, let's get to this
that's how
first
Mark Mero got
match.
to the event. He beat Owen, so now he's in the event. So that's how these guys got there. That they show that for everyone how they got there. So
Um yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go to our first match. It is it's a semi qualifying match for the King of the Ring. Semifinals, actually, just the semifinals. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Mark Mero comes out with Sable. Uh, and Mark Merrill's always, obviously, he gets the better of Stone Cold Steve Austin early on, and then Merrill has the advantage until Austin hits the Luthez press and attacks, but Merrill starts fighting back off the Luthez press. So yeah, Austin's already hitting his signature stuff. Um, when he's outside, he calls for a timeout and he gets back in the ring. And then Austin, like the heel that he is, he sends Mark Mero flying outside. He exposes the concrete on the outside and it throws Marc Mero on it. During this spot, you get a good shot of the bowl cut kid. Did you see that bowl cut kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kid shows up in like not only WWF pay per views but also WCW pay per views. You'll see him. He's nobody has yet to actually identify him. He has not been identified still to this day. They just call him the bowl cut kid.
Maybe he was murdered by New Jack.
Maybe there's been a couple of people who've come out and said it was me, and it's been proven that it's not them. They were like they're just like lying. So we still his identity is not known. Um. So anyway, going back to this match, Austin's beating on Marc Mero, who tries to fight back, and then he gets stopped every time. And then this is the part. This was a big. This was a. This was a good turning point in this match. Okay. Marc Mero, um, he does this move that Shawn Michaels does as well. It's the reversed victory roll. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's like when your opponent is standing there with his back towards you, and then you jump, and then you're supposed to you do like a backflip, and you hook their leg, your feet under the guy's armpits, and then you roll, and then he rolls over, and then you cover him. You know? Do you remember Shawn Michaels did this move to Jericho and beat him in WrestleMania? Right?
Yes.
So Marc Mero has done this in WCW, and he's done it like fairly well. Not this time. In this match, he tries to hit the reverse victory roll on Austin, but when he jumps up to do the backflip and his legs go underneath Austin's arm, his left foot kicks Austin right in the mouth, and you can actually hear it. You can hear the boom slap in the face, right?
Mm-hmm.
From that point on, Austin starts bleeding from the mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got kicked really fucking hard. And they keep wrestling. Marc Mero hits like two planchas, he hits a missile drop kick, he only gets two counties, and then Marc Mero starts arguing with the referee, and then he gets hit with a stun gun, and then the Stone Cold Stunner for Austin to win the match. This is actually Marc Mero's first loss in WWF. Even though there's that mishap, this is not a bad match, not a bad opening. I give it a B. It was starting, I think, after this match that Austin said he does not like working with Marc Mero and he didn't want to work with him anymore.
Which
And I
is which is
get it.
which is crazy to me because they had such good matches in WCW too. At the end, like they were having some good matches there as well. I really like this match. I always thought they had good chemistry.
They
I
do have
just
good
think
chemistry.
I just think Mark Merrill without the Johnny B. Bad gimmick lost all his confidence and he wasn't the same guy. And he's still a good worker, as evident by this match, but I think that he needed that character. He didn't know he was lost. He couldn't be himself. He had to be that character, and I think his confidence gets shot, which is why he's messing up and injuring Austin and stuff. But listen, Austin should be happy he got injured by this guy because that adds to his mystique and that adds to the
Exactly.
problem.
That's what I was saying. This is a big, even though it's a mistake and it's something that probably hurt like a motherfucker. This is a big turning point in Austin's career, right? Because he it makes him look like a badass first of all because he's like he gets sent away and he comes back with he gets stitches and he's like blooded up. He looks like a tough motherfucker. But not only that, because he came back and had to be like given like, oh, what did Jake Roberts say? And he had to like think on his feet.
Mm-hmm.
He came up with the iconic line. I'm not sure if that would have happened if like he was there the whole time. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe. You never know. Sometimes when you think on your feet, you come with the best stuff. So
I
um
know. But I think once I feel like when Austin got a little bit of power, once he decided you're no good, you're just no good. That happened with Jeff
yeah.
Jarrett. That happened with Billy Gunn. And I also think it's a turning point in Mark Mero. I think this is where they start seeing nothing in him. And his career is going to be over in 2 years. We'll never, literally over. He's one of the few guys. He lost a retirement match against Gilbert. He goes, if I lose this match, I'll retire. And he legit retired. He never came back after that in 1998.
Wow. You know,
Yeah.
like I think when he kicked Austin in the face, I think Austin, like, he does look legit pissed, like he got kicked in the face real hard. I mean,
Yeah.
dude,
I think I think
it split his lip basically. It split
this
his
is
lip.
where they decided they don't like this guy.
Yeah,
Everyone.
yeah. This is where they just no. This is where everyone decided he's unsafe. He's not a good worker, right? And I kind of get it. Like, it is one mistake, unfortunately, but we'll see. Maybe with the more pay per
Listen,
views he watches.
wrestling, one mistake is all you need. DDP said the wrong thing to Vince night one, and then they treat him like shit the rest of his run there. So
I mean, they're gonna have more matches. Don't get us wrong. They're gonna have more matches together because Austin doesn't have the power yet. But eventually, when it gets power, he's gonna be like, I don't like fucking working with this guy.
get him out of here.
Yeah. But anyway, after this match, Doc Hendricks, formerly known as Michael P.S. Hayes, he's with Jake Roberts, who starts ranting, saying Bible verses this, Bible verses that. And then none none of these verses apply to anything in his match with Vader. like, it was really I'm like, I'm a man of the faith, but I gotta say, this was not Jake Roberts at his best when it comes to promos. It's just like nonsense.
No,
It made
because
no sense.
he's an evil motherfucker. If he becomes like fucking Joel Osterstein, it takes
Yeah.
away from him. It takes away from him. I don't know.
Yeah, but like back in the
They were
day,
trying too hard. And
back in the
also,
day, wait,
yeah.
so I was gonna say back in the day, at least his promos, like, they made sense, right?
Mhm.
This one didn't make no sense to me at all. Like, it just makes no sense.
Because Vince is trying to force the Bible. Like I think they thought they could turn him into like a preacher, a TV preacher, and I think that's what they thought they were going to do. And the other thing too was like he wasn't really practicing what he preaches. He was still drinking and drugging in 1996.
So anyway, we get a King of the Ring recap of Vader beating Ahmed Johnson due to Owen Hart and him qualifying, and Jake Roberts beating Hunter Helmsley uh, to qualify with help from
He beat
Justin
Triple H.
Bradshaw. What?
He beat Triple H.
Yeah, with the help of Bradshaw.
That
With the
was
help
part of
of
Triple H's punishment for the
yeah.
curtain ball.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to match number 2, another semi finals match. We got Vader with Jim Cornette versus a 41-year-old Jake Roberts. They keep emphasizing he's 41 on commentary, like he's super fucking old. Man, can you imagine going to Junior in 1996 being like, I get it, you think 41 is old, but like, what would you believe me, Junior, if I told you, like, I don't know, 20 years from now, you're gonna have people wrestling like well into their 50s, like, right? It's crazy.
They act like 41 is like the end of your life.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about just like, oh, in Japan or in AW. WWE also had people wrestling in their 50s. Like, Undertaker was in his 50s when he was wrestling. Still, you know?
Dude, fucking CM Punk's gonna be in his 50s soon.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
this
he
is
still
like,
looks. Dude, the difference though, like the difference between how people in their 40s look back then and how they look now is like it's like so different.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Jake Roberts, he might be 41 here, but he looks fucking 50.
He looks like he's been through the ringer, brother.
Yeah, yeah. He looks like he looks like he's keeping the snake in his stomach, right? It's
Mhm.
so fucking big.
Dude, he looked
Anyways,
40 in 1988, and this is 1996.
yeah, yeah. This so Jake Roberts, he shows off his snake before the match, but they're no longer doing the thing where he puts it on people and stuff anymore. I think it's like that's done. Like, now people are like, hey, you can't abuse animals anymore. I think it's just like, hey guys, you see
No,
the
I
snake?
think they do it. They still do it. It's just they didn't do it
Oh,
on the
did
show.
they really? Oh, okay. It didn't seem like I haven't seen him do it in such a long time. He just
I
shows
mean, he
his
literally
snake.
did it at Good Friends, Better Enemies. That was the last show he was on, the last pay-per-view.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
think
We'll
he's
check
doing it
it
on
out.
like Superstars and all the. We're not watching those, and and now that I don't have Netflix, I can't watch the Raws in '96. But I think he was doing it like every week on those shows.
Netflix.
Yeah, all the Raws are on Netflix. Remember?
They're not on Peacock anymore?
No, they took them off for the Netflix deal.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, wow. News to me. Wow. Holy shit. Well, anyways, let's go to this match. Vader in this match does what Vader does. He's peppering Jake Roberts with some real hits. Like, they're just connecting. Every single one of
Yeah.
these are connecting. They're connecting so hard that Jake Roberts like just falls, like he's in the corner and he's hitting him and he just falls down. He's like, all right, it's too much. You know,
Mhm.
like he falls down and Vader's still going and he's missing because Jake fell down. He's like just went down. He's like, oh, it's too much. So then Jake hits Vader with a DDT and he shoves the ref out of the way. So the ref calls a DQ. I'm like, what? This is the match? And then and then afterwards, Vader starts squashing. He squashes Jake Roberts and he hits the Vader bomb afterwards. And then Jake gets helped to the back. In this, they show you a Coliseum exclusive of Vader bullying Jim Cornette in the back. Like, I gave this a D. This was terrible. This was a waste of time.
I they wanted Vader to beat the shit out of Jake the Snake, but also Jake the Snake win, which is like, but they also didn't want Jake the Snake to pin this fucking guy, you know? Because I don't think they believed in Austin yet, just to have Austin beat him. I mean, Boston does beat him fair and square, but they wanted like an out for Jake that like, hey, Vader beat you and
Yeah, because
beat you
Jake's
until you.
still popular. Even though commentary is pushing him like he's like some ancient man,
Mhm.
he's still very popular at this
I
point.
mean, the solution for me would be not to put Vader in the tournament and have someone that Jake the Snake could beat, someone who could beat the shit out of Jake Snake and he could still win. But now I'm like thinking of all the people in the company, like off the top of my head, and I don't know who that would be. Like,
You
just like
you
I
can't
could be, maybe it could be
maybe
JBL, but JBL was kind of being booked like an idiot back then. I don't know who it could be besides Vader, but again, like they keep doing things that make. I don't think they know they're making Vader look bad, but the fact that I think everyone going is like Vader's going to win the King of the Ring, and then he doesn't, and it's like, I mean, it all worked out for everybody, but they keep making things, they keep doing things to make Vader look bad, but they booked themselves in a bad position. It all works out for Austin, but for the enjoyment of the show, they booked themselves in a bad position.
yeah, I can see what your point is that they want. Let's just say you wanted Jake Roberts to advance and not put him up against Vader, then you got to put him up against another bad guy. Who would it be? I guess Helmsley is your choice.
But
You
they
could
don't
have
want
picked.
to put him on the pay per view because of what he did.
Exactly. You want to punish him, right? So you can't put him
I
on.
mean,
So
what's better punishment than what if Jake pinned Helmsley and then Vader attacked him after the match?
yeah, you could have done that. I think Owen had like a cast on his arm. So
I think the other reason why they're not doing anything with Mero is Owen's legit hurt and they don't want to tease anything they can't deliver.
yeah, yeah. So you can't put Owen in that position either, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, like their hands are kind of tied at this point, right? So it's kind of like Vader's the only person who could kind of be in that role,
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm trying to think of the roster. I mean, a lot of the people that I just feel like Shane Douglas is gone, 1, 2, 3 Kid is gone. They're not going to put Chris Candido in that position anymore. They're not going to fucking. I know that the roster is like kind of thin, like at this point. So it's like, what
And you
can you?
can't put the Godwins in there because they're good guys too, you know?
You can't put
Um,
you can't
you
put
can't put Davy Boy Smith in there. You can't
you
do
can't put
that.
Freddie Joy Floyd. Nobody cares about him.
Uh-huh.
There's no the Goon, but the Goon was never even on pay per view. So it's like, who do you put in? And also, like Jake should be beating the Goon and fucking Hunter Hearst Helmsley at this point. So who do you put in? So you put in.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Listen, it's still it's amazing. Like you take out Austin, it's amazing that WCW '98 loses to the '98 WWE roster. Like the roster gets thinner and thinner as we get closer to '98. It's not like they had an all star team, you know.
No. There's a point where it gets so bad they do these like they did what the AWA did. They put everybody in a faction. Remember that?
Oh
Everybody
yeah,
was in a group. Yeah.
I mean, like fucking. I mean, like, yeah, Los was and shit. I mean, it gets really. It's not like Vince had all this talent and then he turned. That's what makes '98 so impressive. That he turns it around with like basically a bunch of rejects and new people. You know?
Well, sometimes like it's like when your back's against the wall, that's when you're the best. When you have that
Yeah,
pressure, you know?
yeah. But right now they're losing. They're losing more people than they're gaining. And
Yeah.
'96.
So episode after that, we get a recap of Billy Gunn kissing Sonny, which distracted Phineas. in a match they had previously, as the Godwins are in the ring dancing around in the ring with actual live baby goats.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Doc Hendricks, he's with the Smoking Guns and Sonny, and they talk about Cloudy. They show you who Cloudy is. Cloudy is the new manager, by the way, of the
Yeah,
Body Donnas, the
they
team
have.
that Sonny formerly managed. Um, so Cloudy, by the way, if you guys are not familiar with Cloudy is basically um, a a man who's pretending to be a woman. Basically, I guess a transsexual character. Is this WWF's
Hired. That's what
what?
it was, an actor that they hired.
Yeah, I know that, but obviously no. He actually is not an actor. It's not an actor. I'll get
No.
into who that is, but I was saying Cloudy is supposed to be a man, a transgender person, basically, right?
Yes.
Okay, is this WWF's first transgender character?
Adorable Adrian Adonis.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Good point. Good point. Yes, you're right. You're right. Okay, okay. So that's why the name's Cloudy, because you know the gender of this character is Cloudy. It's
Well,
stupid.
Sunny
It's a
versus
very
Cloud.
unlike adorable Adrian Adonis. I think this gimmick stinks.
Well, it only has like 2 or 3 appearances, and that's all.
Yeah, that is true.
It's not
Yes.
like it's not like this thing goes on and on.
Yeah. All right. So this is gonna lead to the our third match. It is for the tag team titles. Godwins with Hillbilly Jim and a bunch of goats versus the Smoking Guns, the champions, with their new manager Sunny, who is dressed as a sexy cowgirl. You know, ever since she leaves the Body Donna, she just like dresses up. Like she really starts like dressing really sexy and all this stuff. Um, so Jim Ross says that the guns he's I love Jim Ross in 1996. His commentary is so good. He's like this is like prime Jim Ross. He he just does like these little things to like further advance like storylines. Like for example, before this match begins, the Smoking Guns were good guys for a long time, right? And now they've just kind of like turned bad. And they're still kind of like in that transition period, right? Where they're kind of like in between. And Jim Ross is like, I saw the Smoking Guns earlier today, and they refused to sign autographs before the pay per view, right? Like, it's like, oh yeah, Jim Ross, these guys are assholes, I just like that little touch that he puts in. Um, but it's hard to make these guys the bad guys. You know why? Because they put Sonny there. Sonny's super popular. People are already chanting for Sonny before this match even begins.
No one's going to cheer the Godwins over Sunny.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and Billy Gunn, he gets on the mic and he starts taunting Phineas as Bart Gunn attacks them from behind. Phineas has to start to kind of like fight off both the guns. Um, During this match, Cloudy gets interviewed in the split screen. And Cloudy's like, "Oh, I thank you, McMahon." And he goes, "Jim Ross," and he blows Jim Ross a kiss. It's so
Oh yeah, they were
stupid.
making fun of Jim Ross with that.
Yeah, this is so stupid. Oh, it's so dumb. So Godwin's, they start beating on Billy Bart Gunn, and then Billy takes a cheap shot at Henry, and then he start putting the heat on Henry Godwin. Bart misses a top rope leg drop for Phineas to make the hot tag, and he starts cleaning up in the ring. Everyone's in the ring together. The referee gets distracted with Henry for Bart Gunn to hit Phineas with a boot to win the match. Afterwards, the Godwins beat on the Guns afterwards, but then we just get more Sonny chance. Sonny is super popular in this, man. At this point, I gave this a B. It's not a bad match. What did you think?
I It was okay. It's like this era, the tag division is like a Sunny vortex, and every match has to be about Sunny and not the belts and who's trying to bang Sunny. And
Yeah,
think I kind of think Sonny should have been involved in the Shawn Michaels storylines. I think that would have got him more over. Because it's just like it
yeah,
kind of ruins the
duh.
Godwin because it's like I, as a viewer, want to see more Sonny. I don't want the Godwins to defeat the Guns and Sonny go away or whatever. I just want to keep seeing Sonny. And I think I don't know. It's weird. They didn't really know. She was destined for right now. She'd have like a really good role. Like she'd be like the leader of Judgment Day. If she came along now, she'd have a really good role in one of the companies, or she'd be like, or maybe she'd be a wrestler now, and she'd be feuding with Sasha Banks in AEW or something. But here, it's like I think she deserved a better role, and like there's only so much she can do, and it's all right, but it just feels like every match is the same this year with the tag division. It's just Sunny, someone on a tag team wants to fuck Sunny. And
Yeah, but and here's the thing, you made a good point. Like Shawn Michaels is saddled with an old man, Jose Lothario,
yeah,
right? It's just like,
yeah.
why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Like, do you
Sunny
think
should have been an event back then. It was her
okay,
time. It's her time.
okay, so this is the time period I think where Shawn Michaels and Sonny are actually having an affair, right?
That's why you do it.
What?
That's why you do it because they
No,
probably have great chemistry is on the screen.
no. Do you think Shawn Michaels said, "No, don't put me with her because I don't want people to suspect or something like that," because they were still trying to keep it on
I,
the
I
down low.
I definitely think Sean never had any intentions of this being like a serious thing where he like marries her and has kids and shit. He probably saw that she was fucked up and he was like, I'm gonna do what I got to do because I'm the heartbreak kid. But uh, but at the same
No,
time, I think it would have made the show better. I think it would have
no,
made
but
the
what
show.
I'm saying is, do you think maybe the idea was floated? Like, why don't become your manager? And
Yeah,
Shawn
I'm
Michaels
saying
was
I think he
like,
probably said no because he didn't want people to associate him with her. Yeah,
"Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, what could be the reasoning why they keep this old man with Shawn Michaels and not Sonny, and why she's just still in the tag team division?" But anyway, you're right. It feels like every single tag team feud that Sonny is involved in, it's one person on the other team really wants to fuck Sonny. It's always one person, right? It's never both of them. It's always one guy, and that's what causes the feud. It's stupid. By the way, so Cloudy, he's he's like buff because he's a wrestler. He's actually one of the independent wrestling. He's actually was friends with Chris Candido on the independent scene. So Chris Candido got one of his friends a job for like what 3 appearances? What was this like a 3 appearance thing?
yeah.
Yeah, like Cloudy's not really
I
there.
need more, and then people realize this is really bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, afterwards, Doc Hendricks, he's in the back with Jim Cornette, Clarence Mason, Davey Boy Smith, and the lovely Diana, um, who um, who is like Sunny times 100, right? Jim Ross tells Shawn Michaels, not Jim Ross, Jim Cornette tells Shawn Michaels, "Hey, Shawn, your number is up." And then he goes, as my buddy used to say, as Dick Murdoch used to say. So Jim Cornette name drops Dick Murdoch because if you remember, Dick Murdoch, he passed away on June 15th. So it was like actually 8 days before King of the Ring. So unlike WCW, where WCW actually acknowledged his death, I don't think you could do that in WBF. So Jim Cornette, in his own way, does a name drop kind of out of respect, which I actually like that. That was pretty cool of him, you know?
But
So uh special guest referee in this match that Shawn Michaels has coming up is actually Mr. Perfect. And Mr. Perfect, this interview is taking place in the bad guys locker room. Mr. Perfect is in there. And Doc Hendricks starts looking back. He's like, "What are you doing here? This is like collusion. You're the special guest referee, and why are you in this locker room?" And
collision.
Davey Boyce was like, "No, there's no collusion. Mr. Perfect's gonna call it right down the middle, and I'm gonna be the champion." So little intrigue for the main event. So Jerry the King Lawler, he's at the King of the Ring throne area, and he's got his fists all taped. He's got his hands all taped up, and he calls, "Oh, Milwaukee's a bunch of losers," and he starts walking down from the throne area down to the ramp towards the ring. And as he's doing that, he's making fun of these fans. He makes fun of this one like teenage girl's weight, and I was like, "Dude, that's so fucked up, right?" It was so fucked up.
He was like, I'll never have sex with you, unlike your friends.
Yeah, no, he said something like, I think he said something like, like I think the girl he said something like, "You look like you've never missed a meal" or something. It was really mean. It was it was funny, but it was super mean because you could tell she's like a teenage girl. It's like, geez, bro. But anyways, as he's going there and Jared King Lawler, I will give him. I will say he's a very effective bad guy. He's a very effective heel. Like just like people just hate him. Um,
They trot him out every King of the Ring. Have you noticed like they try to give him like a prominent role every King of the Ring, and it always like makes the other person look so. Why is Warrior fighting this fucking guy in 1996? I mean, come on,
so
you
maybe
know?
that's another thing. We just talked about this, the lack of heels.
Yeah,
Who are you gonna put in this role? Triple H, but you already did that at WrestleMania.
I know. I know. Well, I think about it is with a guy like Warrior. This is the thing about Warrior. If you're not going to bring in Warrior and immediately put him in the main event, like in other words, like he should have been the main event of WrestleMania 12. I hate to bring, then don't bring him in because it's just a waste of money and time to have Warrior fighting Jerry Lawler and like standing around while Goldust like plays with his penis. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just like it's 100% a waste of money, and I think Junior did realize that as his time was there. You know.
And I think Warrior realized that too, which is why he. This is it. There's never another pay per view appearance of Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, this is what a way to go in last pay per view appearance for WWF. So Jim Ross, I mean not Jim Ross, Jerry King Lawler, he is in the ring and he's shitting on Warrior, and this is going to lead to our fourth match: Jerry King Lawler versus the Warrior. Lawler hits the Warrior with the scepter, which is that King's stick thing from behind, and he chokes him with some tape. And then he hits a pile driver, which Warrior no sells the pile driver. He pops right up, and then he does he warriors up, does the Indian dance, starts fitting the offensive, hits the running shoulder block to win the match. Then Warrior, I don't know if this was part of the script or not. After he wins the match, he goes to the King's throne area and he picks up the crown. And then I think he wanted to put it on, but I think he realized, oh, I should not do that. And then he just
Because
puts it back down. Yeah, I think he realized he was going too far. Like I shouldn't be in this
well,
king. I
I
shouldn't be this.
also I think he might want to destroy the crown, like smash it. But then he's like, oh wait a minute, maybe Austin needs it for his. So maybe in their heads they thought Austin was going to put on the crown, the cape, and be like, they don't
Yeah,
know that Scream Austin 316. So if
yeah.
they
I don't
destroy it,
think.
Austin can't put it on his head. Can you imagine if Austin woke up there and put that crown on his head? Can you
I don't
imagine
even think.
how? Can
I
you
don't even
imagine
think
how
Warrior was.
if Austin put the crown on his head at the end of this match?
Yeah, yeah. It was funny. I don't even think Warrior was supposed to be at the throne area. I
No,
think
I
he
don't
just
think.
went there on his own.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then
he's
it's funny because he picks it up and then he just goes, "Oh wait, let me just put it back down." Stupid. Imagine he just destroyed the whole set.
oh, that would have ruined Austin's thing.
Yeah, that would have been he just destroyed everything, the chair, the throne, everything. And then and then when he got to the bag, they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's like,
Oh,
"Oops, I'm sorry. I was just trying to warrior up."
I'm trying to worry you, bro.
Austin comes back from the hospital. What happened? Fuck. Um, you just pretend nothing's destroyed. Just try to sit on that throne as best as possible, even though they destroyed Austin. Anyway, going back to this match, this is the D. This is another terrible match. They
Horrible,
should just never have done this match. This is awful.
horrible.
Yeah.
Um, I do think they were going to start getting their money's worth with Warrior at the next pay per view, but then he kind of gets fired slash quits slash. We'll get into it in the next show, and but his fuck up is Sid's benefit because Sid's about Psycho Sid, who is forgotten about at this point, and people are like that guy was never gonna is about to have the best year of his life because of Warriors fuck up. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But I do think you probably would have saw like I think you eventually would have got like Warrior versus Vader for the belt at like Survivor Series or something if he didn't leave.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's something that happens a lot in wrestling, where when somebody fucks up, it gives an opportunity for somebody else, and they fucking just go high. Austin, if Triple H didn't fuck up, Austin wouldn't be winning the King of the Ring. You know?
At this point, 96, Vince McMahon is like, I will never bring back Psycho Sid ever again. And by Survivor Series 96, Sid has the greatest night of his career when he wins the belt in Madison Square Garden. With the crowd chanting his name over Shawn Michaels. It's like, it's crazy how fast things can change. But, I also have to give Vince credit, is that he will call upon people he can't stand if he thinks it's going to get the fans excited. And I kind
Yeah,
of feel like Tony Khan and Triple H are not like that, but we'll see.
because at the end of the day, Junior was a businessman. He always put business first a lot of times, and he said it. He would say, "You got to put business, whatever's best for business." And I was like, "Yeah, I kind of believe him when he say that." But if you're
Mhm.
keeping track at score at home, we have four matches so far. Two are complete duds that shouldn't have even happened. So at this point, this is why I'm saying I don't think this is a great pay per view. It's just like you're telling me half the matches so far are just garbage.
It gets better as it goes.
Yeah. So anyway, Doc Hendricks, he's in the back with Gorilla Monsoon. They're in Jake Roberts' locker room, and Jake's getting taped up in the ribs area because he got squashed by Vader. And Gorilla says, "Hey guys, in case you forgot, Jake is 41 years old.
Which
He's
means his
old,
bones are
guys."
brittle.
Yeah, he goes, "He's old and he's hurt, but I'm Gorilla Monsoon. I'm the president. I'm gonna let him continue." I just love how they had to put it in one more time. I don't know if you know this, dog, but Jake's 41 years old. He's an old fuck. I just think it's so funny. We're gonna go to match number 5. Mankind versus the Undertaker. Um, Mankind's in the ring, and Undertaker's music hits. The lights are low, and Paul Bearer comes out alone. And then he gets to the ring, and then lights come on, and there is Undertaker perched up on the turnbuckle, and he hits a flying lariat right onto Mankind and starts beating on Mankind faster than normal. Usually, Undertaker's offense is like very slow because he's supposed to be like a zombie. Not here. He's just like pelting Mankind with like fast punches. It's very different style of fighting that Undertaker's doing, like sneaking attack, hitting the flying clothesline to begin with, and just being fast. It's different, but I like it. I like it. How did you feel about his offense? The difference.
Well, I think this feud, when I was a kid and I heard, oh, they had Cactus Jack beat Undertaker, I was like, why? Like why? That guy's a doofus, right? Oh, I'm glad I'm not watching that show. Undertaker, I think, used this feud to transition out of being this immortal monster into being a real wrestler, so you can have real matches. So I think that he wanted Mankind. Vince had no idea what to do with Mankind, and Undertaker's like, I want to feud with him, give it to me. And then Undertaker's idea was to lose to him at this show. But I think Undertaker was like, I've got to look, I've got to look human against this guy in order for me to like have matches that I enjoy. Otherwise, I'm gonna be wrestling Giant Gonzalez for the rest of my fucking life.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So in this match, Mankind starts making a comeback with his consistent attacks, including the elbow to the floor.
Mhm.
Mankind tries to use a chair as Paul Bear distracts the referee for some reason. But Taker gets his boot up, and then Mankind gets backdropped onto the concrete on the floor. Then Undertaker whacks him with the chair, but Mankind keeps fighting back. This is the Mankind that I like, by the way. I don't like the later Mankind who's wearing like the button
Just the guy
down
with the medal.
necktie. Yeah, the corporate version. I don't like that version. I like this one, the one with the brown shirt with the
Mhm.
fucking like like
Lunatic.
just like yeah, the lunatic Mankind. It looks like he's from like a dungeon in the medieval times. Um, Paul Bear starts a rest in peace chant going. This is why I like old school managers were like I've seen Jim Cornette do this too. They know when it's time to get a chant going and they'll start getting it going, you know? So that crowds and managers now don't know stuff like that, like how to get the crowd back into things and all. And anyway, Paul Bear does that. Great job getting a rest in peace chant going. Undertaker does fight. This allows Undertaker to start making some offense back. And he's doing it fast, which Owen Hart on commentary does point out. Undertaker's moving faster than I've ever seen him and stuff. Owen was pretty good on commentary. I enjoyed his stuff. They fight back outside, and Mankind hits the running knees on Taker onto the steps, and then slams him on the concrete. And then he tries to do that cactus elbow, but then Undertaker holds up a chair to crash into Mankind. Then Taker, with the same chair, he fucking smashes it over Mankind's head, and they keep fighting in the ring. Mankind makes a cover, but he only gets a 2 count. And out of frustration from only getting a 2 count, he starts slamming his own head into the buckle, and he starts pulling out his own hair. That was fucking. This is like the Mankind I love. Like he's like he can't win, so he gets all mad, so he starts hurting himself. I was like, when I was a kid, I legit thought something was wrong with him. You know,
Well,
and
he's
it's
he's a simp, but that's a whole other story.
yeah, yeah, that's true. But like, just like when he did stuff like that, like oh, he only got a 2 count, so he starts like pulling out his own hair. I'm like, geez, something's wrong with this fucking guy, right? It's a great act. It's fantastic. Um, but then after he hurts himself, Mankind grabs the urn, but then Paul Bear steals it back from him, and then Mankind gets the mandible claw on Undertaker. But as they start staggering backwards to like a corner, Paul Bear has the urn, and he tries to hit Mankind, but he ends up hitting Undertaker with the urn instead. And then Undertaker goes down and he's out. And then Mankind wins the match. As after he wins, the piano music plays because Mick Foley, in his mind, he wanted this character to be like after he wins the match, he finally feels a sense of peace. So that's why I play that piano music. It's a great character. Um, Afterwards, Mankind starts stalking Paul Bear to the back with a chair. I gave this a B plus. This is a fantastic Undertaker Mankind match. What did you think?
Yeah, this is great. I mean, Mankind comes out of the gate, Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, whatever you want to call him, goes out of the gate, says, "You need to take me seriously. This isn't WCW anymore." I did notice too, he wasn't taking as many unnecessary risks as he was at the end of WCW. He's not like falling on his head for no fucking reason. He's going to wait for another few years to take some unnecessary risks. But I like this, and this is a good this is where the other. I really, Mick Foley played it off, and so did Undertaker, but I think Undertaker really should thank Mick Foley in his Hall of Fame speech because I think this feud is what turns him from a character into a legend, into the phenom of the WWE, if you will, and a guy that like people talk about with reverence. Because it proved like I'm not just a gimmick. I'm not just a boss man. Like I'm not Earthquake. I'm something different.
I can wrestle. Yeah.
And this
Um.
is that does it.
So were they ever planning on doing something where like Paul Bear turned on Undertaker and aligned himself with Mankind?
I mean, that happens, bro, in 2 months.
Oh, dude. I
You
don't. I
forgot.
have like the memory. I have the memory of a fly, dude. Yeah.
This also
Oh,
essentially starts the whole Kane storyline. Like this, like what happened, what the finish of this match is what eventually leads to Kane. Like this is like the big saga. This is how it starts. Mankind. That's why Mankind, dude. He's Mankind's manager until Kane shows up.
wow. So this is all blurred. Remember, I really wasn't watching
What
too much
you know
at this point.
footage I've rewatched.
Yeah,
I've
I kind of forgot a lot of this stuff. This is why it's good to rewatch. It's like, oh, all this stuff starts flooding back.
He literally turns on him the next show.
I don't remember. I'm just like, wow, this is but you could see it. I like those seeds they're planting. You're like, it feels like Paul Bear's gonna turn on him. I was like, all right, interesting,
But
cool.
also this leads to Kane, which leads to the collapse of the United States. So this is
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah.
ever see
Doc
Kane's
Hendricks,
tweets. Oh my
Doc
god.
Hendricks is in the back with Mr. Perfect, who accuses him. Once again, he accuses Mr. Perfect of collusion. And Mr. Perfect's like, come on, man, get out of here. He just like hand waves it. And then Shawn Michaels comes in and he confronts him. And he's like, well, what are you doing? Why are you changing into that guy's locker room? And Mr. Perfect's like, well, you look nervous, man. He goes, hey, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm going to call it right down the middle. So that's the end of that. And we're going to go to match number 6. It's for the Intercontinental title. It is Goldust versus Ahmed Johnson, where we get a recap of how this feud started is when Goldust kissed Ahmed and supposedly really stuck his tongue in there during that kiss. um, Junior mentions that Ahmed is the Kuwaiti champion for this Kuwaiti tournament. Did they really never release it? You don't think they'll release it on the vault?
I think they will. They've released matches on the DVDs. So Bret Hart and Steve Austin actually had their first match of the Kuwaiti Cup
Mm.
on the Bret Hart Blu-ray. They've released the Sultan versus somebody on another Blu-ray. So they've released matches. They haven't released the complete show. There's two shows. The second one, Tiger Ali Singh wins the second Kuwaiti Cup.
Wait a
Indians.
minute. The Sultan's involved in the first Kuwaiti Cup?
He's involved in some Kuwaiti show. They do a bunch of somebody in basically they had somebody in Kuwait kept buying shows and basically it's like it doesn't matter who shows up, you get this flat rate. And they did a bunch of them in '96 and '97, but they were shown on TV over there, not over here.
So I'm looking at to see who they had on the roster for this. They
There's
had
a Kuwait show in September, October.
what?
There's another Kuwait show.
No, I know. I'm looking at this one. This was from May 12th, the first Kuwaiti Cup, 1996. They had Duke the Jumpster Drosy, Marty Jannetty, Leif Cassidy, Aldo Montoya, Bob Backlund, Isaac Yankum. Isaac Yankum's is still on this roster. I get what?
They've given up on it at that point.
Yeah, but couldn't you then have like Jake Roberts beat Isaac Yankum in the King of the Ring?
No, because they don't. To me, he doesn't count. He doesn't count. He's basically a jobber at this point.
I guess so.
Isaac Yankum has
Maybe
to.
have Isaac. It would have been pretty impressive because Isaac Yankum is a big guy. If Ultimate Warrior came in and just fucking beat him in like 2 minutes, a huge dude.
Yeah.
Instead of turning to Lawler.
Let's move on to the next match.
All right. Anyways,
yeah.
Junior's not in his peak right now. He's just kind of like down. Anyway, we're gonna go to our like I said, this is the Intercontinental Championship match. Goldust versus the Kuwaiti champion, Ahmed Johnson. It was fun. I know Ahmed Johnson's probably an asshole in real life. I don't care. I just like him as a wrestler. This is King of the Ring, so they got those big fucking doors and they got these fake knights like standing guard for the door they're supposed to open it. Ahmed just bursts through the doors and it knocks the guards down. And he just like runs to the ring and he starts attacking Goldust. That's a great visual, dude. It's fantastic. It makes him look like a badass.
Before you recap this match, I really liked this match. I was surprised how much I liked it. This was a really fun match for Ahmed Johnson and Goldust. I really enjoyed this match. I think there's something. The thing about it is this. I heard somebody talk about this with Goldberg, right? Because you watch the death of Who Killed WCW. Kevin Nash is going like he can't work. Only people like he can't work. He can't this. It's not his job. Oh, it was Brian Alvarez said this. It's not Goldberg's job to become a great worker. It's your job to get him. It's your job to get him over and keep him over because he is over. Like it's like this guy is money. It's your job to hide the fact he can't work. You can't just be like this guy doesn't work and let him fucking flop. You have to make him work because the audience is behind him. And I think the same with Ahmed Johnson. If they got behind him more, I think he really could have worked. I like him a lot, especially in this match.
Yeah, I don't think this match is good, right? But I can't say I didn't enjoy aspects of it, right? Like I said, I enjoyed him just like busting through the doors, knocking everybody down.
He had something that you can't teach.
Yeah. He has that it factor. Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying. I want to see an Ahmed Johnson figure, dude. I would pick it up. So Goldust is still in his silly wig and robe, and he's just getting beat on by Ahmed. Ahmed throws Goldust to the floor, and then he does his dive. He gotta stop doing this dive. Every time he does it, he's like landing on his head. He's such an idiot. He almost kills himself. Then Ahmed throws Goldust to the stairs. Throws stairs at Goldust. He picks up the fucking stairs, but Goldust gets out of the way. Vladimir, superfan Vlad, he is in the second row and he starts mugging for the camera as Goldust gets his ass kicked by Ahmed Johnson on the floor. Goldust slams the steps on Ahmed, and then he does this really long beatdown process. I think this is the part where they really should have cut out. They shouldn't have done this because Ahmed, he's limited. And just like he's not even a good seller, just don't let him get a beatdown. He should be given like almost like the Ultimate Warrior treatment. there's this part where Gold does it's not getting good reactions. It's like the crowd's really dying. So Goldust starts doing this thing where when Ahmed's laying in the ring, Goldust starts crawling all over Ahmed's body and he starts like hovering and laying on top of like mounting Ahmed. That gets the crowd like kind of into it. You know, they're like, oh, this fucking gay guy, you know? And then Goldust, the pinnacle of this match is when Goldust tries to once again kiss Ahmed Johnson, try to give him mouth to mouth, which wakes up Ahmed Johnson, who starts gay bashing Goldust. And then he hits the Pearl River Plunge to win the match. He wins the title, the Intercontinental title. Do you remember when we were reviewing WCW matches with Johnny B. Bad and we are like, man, WCW is so low rent. They got all this stupid glitter and shit all over the ground. They never wipe it, they never sweep it, and it gets stuck all over everybody's back and stuff. You know what? WWF pulls the same shit here. Ahmed Johnson gets up and he's holding up the fucking title. Meanwhile, he's got all these gold polka dots all over his back. It looks so.
I know. I hated that too. I don't understand why you can't have somebody sweep. WWF never really does that again. But yes, it was bad. Listen, Vince, he knows he's getting his ass whooped, and you can feel it. You can feel it. He knows. It's not going his way.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, it's Ahmed Johnson's just fun to watch. It's not a good match, but he's fun to watch. Goldust is fun to watch. We get an in your house alien commercial, which I like this commercial. The aliens, they come down from outer space and they join a Mark to watch wrestling. I'm like, we're gonna watch this wrestling. And then we get a Coliseum exclusive of Ahmed Johnson walking into the good guys locker room and everyone starts like cheering and congrating Ahmed Johnson. They spray him with champagne. Shawn Michaels comes out and he hugs Ahmed Johnson, his new best friend. And then out comes Brian Pillman to the ring, and he's on crutches because he had a what is it? Did he have a motorcycle accident right before this? Right?
That like kind of ended his life eventually because he became a
yeah, basically, yeah. So Pillman comes out and he gets it into it with some of the fans, and then he joins Jim Ross, who's trying to interview him, and Pillman's like he mentions like Jeffrey Dahmer, and he goes, "Oh, Brian effing Pillman does whatever he wants to do," and then that was basically the gist of the interview. And then as he's walking back, Austin comes out, and they have a bit of a confrontation in the aisleway where Pillman greets him in the walkway. I thought that part was pretty cool. I like that part. That was fantastic.
It's a cool acknowledgement of the past. I think if Brian Pillman stayed healthy, it would have a basis. I think if Brian Pillman stayed healthy and when Austin won the belt in '98, he would have been Pillman would have been Vince's corporate guy, not Mick Foley. And I don't know. It's like we know nothing really comes besides like, a couple of like cool angles. We know nothing big comes of that one on one, but it's a great moment because it's like you turned on me, and now look where we are. Look where we are now. Now we're in the WWF, and we still have problems. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be a reckoning between us.
I think you're right. If Pillman had stayed healthy, this could have just been like a rivalry that could have just been going on years and years and years. It would have been fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really cool moment. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a cool moment. Even the commentaries, they don't really like mention it. You just kind of see it, and you're just like, ooh, you know.
Mhm.
Jim Ross, actually not Jim Ross Jr. Mentions that Austin got 16 stitches after that match with Marc Mero, and he went to the hospital, get 16 inches, and he came back, right? So this is the King of the Ring finals, their 7th match, Austin versus Jake Roberts. Austin's just like viciously attacking Jake Roberts right off the bat, ripping off all that tape that he had around his ribs as Gorilla Monsoon comes down and he gets in the ring and he's like, "Hey, Jake, do you want to quit? Don't forget, you're 41 years old. You're old." Jake Roberts like, Jake, Jake Roberts is like, no, I want to keep fighting. So Gorilla's like, all right, go ahead. So Jake Roberts starts fighting. He starts fighting back. Austin reopens the cut in his lip, so he starts bleeding from the mouth again. But then, this match got to be quick, pretty much. He hits the stunner to win the match. It's not a good match because of what it is. You know, Austin's hurt; he can't really do much, and you know, Jake Roberts has to act hurt. So I just gave this a C. Austin afterwards, after he wins the match, he joins Doc Hendricks in the throne area that thankfully Ultimate Warrior did not destroy. And then this is where he cuts the iconic promo on Jake Roberts, who is, while this is happening, while he's on the throne, Jake Roberts is getting help to the back. So he's walking past the throne with some referees. And Austin's like, first thing I want you to do is get this trash out of here, out of my ring. I just proved without a shadow of that you ain't got what it takes anymore. And then he cuts that iconic Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass. As soon as he says it, there's an immediate reaction from the crowd. You know,
Mhm.
like they like this is back in the days, sometimes when you're cutting a promo, you know, the crowd doesn't really like react, but right as soon as he said that line, the crowd reacts, and you see Doc Hendricks look around like, oh, that was something. And then Austin goes, as King of the Ring, I'm putting everybody on notice. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. The match is shit, but this segment is fantastic. This is every bit as iconic as everyone claims it is.
Yes. So listen, it doesn't matter to me like what there was this match could have been Austin drooling on himself in the corner. What this match does, like it's very rare because I'm not watching wrestling at the time and you weren't that into it at the time. It's very rare you
Mhm.
see like a moment that like alters the path of your life, right? And whether you like it or not, Andrew Lee, like this whole match and post match segment, because he gets the idea of Austin 316 because Jake the Snake is quoting Bible verses all over the place, right? So to see all these things come together in a moment that basically is going to like change the course of history, um, it's pretty like big, like because also like he does get a little pop off Austin 316, but overall the crowd like when that's over, the crowd is ready to move on to something else. Like
Of
no
course,
one's
yeah.
like want more Austin in my life, but Austin has it. Like we haven't caught up. Like he already. That's the thing. It's like sometimes like in comedy, you get frustrated because like, man, I just fucking kicked ass. Everyone said I'm great, but they don't get it. And I feel like that's where Austin is in this moment. He has everything. He gets it. He is already at the next level. We're not there. And when I say me, you, Vince McMahon, the audience in general, we're not there with him, but he already has it. It's here. Like the next great thing is here. And it's a big moment. And it's not the greatest match, and if you don't know the historical significance behind it, you're like, okay, great. You just buried Jake the Snake. But knowing what's to come, fucking, I loved it. It was great.
Yeah. So Austin's been interviewed about this, and what he said happened was he literally right before this match, he's just coming back to the arena from the hospital, and he's asking Doc what happened. Hey Doc, what happened? What do I need to know before I get to the ring? And Doc Hendricks is like, oh, Jake Roberts, he cut like a biblical promo on you, and
Mhm.
that had him start thinking. So, like I said, Austin didn't have all this time to figure out what he was going to say. He just had that moment, and Austin is not like a religious person, but he said he played, I think, high school sports, and in high school sports, there's a lot of like praying. I remember even in the '90s when I was I would play football, we would pray before games and stuff, right? And he said he remembered seeing John 3:16 as one of the Bible verses, and so that's the only thing. That's where he came up with that. He's like, oh, I don't know much about the Bible. What can I retort back? And he goes, I remember seeing John 3:16 when I used to play high school sports. So that's what he pulled it from. But yeah, if it wasn't for Doc Hendricks, who gave him that kind of like fucking background too, right? So all these little things, right, just kind of helped out. So it was like a perfect storm of a great moment in time. Speaking of perfect, Mr. Perfect comes out for the final match. Yes, he was a special guest referee, but he gets his own entrance. I like it when as soon as Mr. Perfect comes out with his referee shirt, he pulls out a stick of gum and he puts it in his mouth. I love that part. That was fantastic. He comes out from the door, puts a stick of gum in his mouth. He starts chewing it, walks to the ring, gets in the ring, and right as his theme song is ending, he fucking spits the gum out. That was it was fantastic. He just chewed a piece of gum for just that entrance. He was so cool, man. We're gonna go to the final match, WWF Championship match. Davey Boy Smith and his hot wife Diana and Jim
Yeah.
Cornette. They come out. Owen Hart is standing on the desk, like cheering for them because he's on commentary. And then Shawn Michaels comes out with dirty old Jose Lothario. Gorilla Monsoon comes out as well, and he goes, "Mr. Perfect, you're gonna be the referee outside the ring, and Earl Hebner's gonna be the referee inside the ring." Everyone's annoyed. Owen Hart's annoyed, and he's like, "Why did that?" And then Owen Hart goes, "Why did that dirty old? Why is that dirty old Mexican Jose Lothario out here?"
Owen Hart is so funny.
Yeah, but you know what? He has a point.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, Owen Hart was really funny. He was
You
funny.
know what? He's not trying to be funny.
Yeah, yeah,
He's kind of deadpan that makes it funnier.
yeah. So Davey Boy Smith, he before the match begins, he grabs a Union Jack from somewhere and he gets in the ring and he like fucking holds it up. People start booing and they start doing a USA chant, and I'm like, wow, this is already coming off like a racist match. You're kind of dirty old Mexican. We got booing the UK flag. It's very funny. So Owen's been good on commentary, but he's kind of been like relatively quiet compared to the other two guys, Vince McMahon and Jim Ross. But in this match, Owen really comes alive and he really takes over the commentary. And he's fantastic. He's like the heel commentary that they need between these two good guy commentators. He's in calling Shawn Michaels, "Oh, the gutless coward. He's a gutless coward," and everything. It's fantastic. These two, Davey Boy Smith and Shawn Michaels, they fight outside. There's a point where Shawn Michaels grabs the racket and he spanks Jim Cornette with it. People love that spot. They show Diana, and to Diana's credit, she looked hotter here than she did before. She did look beautiful, didn't you think, in this match?
Not a fan of. She seems the Hearts are very weird.
Okay.
I'm not a fan. Sunny.
Well, yes. Okay. She's 100%. She's not going to be hotter than Sunny. I get that. But here, she did like her makeup was done really well, and she was wearing she was wearing clothes that was really complimented her. And oh, when they do a close up of her, Owen Hart goes, "She's beautiful, much like most people in my family." Ah, I got one brother who's very ugly though. I thought that was awesome.
So
He's like, "Everyone in my family is good looking, except for that one brother. He's ugly." um, um, Shawn Michaels, he has an arm wrench on Davey Boy Smith, who gets the ropes to break it up, and then this is the part that was kind of weird. Okay, so they're this whole time they've been playing up how like, oh, Mr. Perfect, he seems like he's not gonna be calling it down the middle. He seems like very suspiciously on the bad guy side. But when like Shawn Michaels has an arm wrench on Davey Boy Smith, Davey grabs the ropes to break up the submission hold, right? And Mr. Perfect knocks Davey's hand off the rope. Like, why would he do that? First off, like, it's a clean rope break. It's not even illegal what he's doing. It was weird. I just didn't get that part. It was like a weird
yeah,
mess up.
it was weird. It was weird.
Yeah. Anyways, Davey Boy Smith, he gorilla presses Shawn Michaels and he just dumps him outside. It looked really dangerous. You know what? You know who was taking the crazy bumps back then? It's not Mankind. It was Shawn Michaels. Like he just got gorilla pressed down from the ring to the fucking floor. That was crazy.
He's
Um,
trying. He's trying to get the fans' interest. He knows people are losing interest in the company, so he's trying. He's trying whatever he can do. You know, bro.
yeah, but he's doing it the wrong way. It's just like this is not what you need to do. You got to do more. Anyways, there's a suplex on the Davey hits a suplex on the floor, and then he gets back in the ring, and he himself has all this fucking gold dust glitter all over his back. I'm like, oh god, he's like WCW all over again. Davey hit some great clotheslines on Shawn Michaels. This is a good match. I don't know. I don't know what their relationship is like, but Shawn Michaels and Davey Boy Smith have great chemistry together. They can have a very interesting. They have very interesting matches. I think. Davey
Do
Boy
they
Smith,
chemistry?
yeah, Davey Boy Smith hits a superplex for a 2 count, and this is where things start picking up, rapid pace. Powerbomb by Davey Boy Smith, on hard Irish whip by Shawn Michaels sends Davey into the corner, buckles upside down, flying forearm by Shawn Michaels, and a kip up, which is his hulking up move. He hits his sweet chin music, and then he goes for the cover. And Mr. Perfect, who's supposed to be on the outside, he comes into the ring to help Earl Hebner make the count for the win, for the clean finish, which was very weird. And then Owen Hart comes in. He pulls out Mr. Perfect. He's like, "What are you doing?" And then he gets in the ring and he gets beat up by Shawn Michaels. But then Davey Boy Smith and Owens, they start double teaming on Shawn Michaels. When all of a sudden Ahmed Johnson runs in to make the save, but then Vader comes in and Vader starts beating on Ahmed Johnson right away. And then Vader goes to splash Shawn Michaels, but then Ultimate Warrior comes in to make the save. So the three top good guys in the company right now: Ahmed Johnson, Shawn Michaels, and um, Ultimate Warrior. They stand tall as the crowd legit is going crazy for them. Great ending. I give this a B+ match. There is a Coliseum exclusive after this where Jim Ross is with Camp Cornette and they're basically going like, "Oh, you guys want to do this? We want to do a 6-man tag against you guys." And that's what's going to lead to the next one. I thought this was a good finish, good match and a good finish. B+. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a good match. It was a good finish. It sets up the next pay per view. I remember
Yes.
hearing about that team of Ahmed, Warrior, and Michaels, and I'm like, that's a good way of getting Warrior back in the mix. It wasn't meant to be, but it was a good way to set up the next show and continue the story of Shawn Michaels versus Cam Cornette. Not the greatest story, but hey, listen, Shawn's getting the job done in the ring. That's all you can ask.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Good point. So overall, King of the Ring 1996. Some high points, a lot of low points. I would say the only thing worth watching on this show, in my opinion, is just the Steve Austin King of the Ring promo. That is it. Not even the match.
I would say, yeah, I would say watch that promo. It is what it is. So we're doing now, because May started where every month they go head to head, both companies. We gave WWF the advantage month one. So in June, who has the better show, WCW or WWF?
WCW.
Okay, so now, because remember, this is so we're gonna go every month, see what, and then this will determine who's the better company once and for all. So
Well,
right
what
now,
did you think?
what?
What did you think?
I think WCW is the better show. I mean,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, they had the great moment with Austin, but overall, like, there's a lot of stuff. WWF just didn't have the cool factor WCW had in '96. So I think right now they're tied 1-1 on shows. So it's a dead even. All right, guys, let's review what happens in the next 4 weeks. We're actually this is going to come out like this Tuesday. We're recording. We're going to have the next one on the weekend. So we're going to go back to our schedule now that I'm situated in California. Next time we're here, we're going to talk about Bash at the Beach '96, which featured the best heel turn of all time, not John Cena last week. All right, this and we'll talk about it. I want to save the Cena talk for next week. All right, that's why we haven't talked about modern stuff. We'll talk
That's
about it
okay. Yeah.
because there's a lot of ways to compare what happened then to what happened in '96. So Bash the Beach '96, NWO versus Team WCW, 2 weeks in your house, international incident, Cam Cornette versus Shawn Michaels, Ahmed Johnson, and Sid, not the Warrior. In 3 weeks, Hog Wild '96, Hollywood Hogan versus the Giant, and then in 4 weeks, SummerSlam '96, Shawn Michaels versus Vader. What are you excited about, Andrew Lee?
Obviously, the very next one. That's gonna be it's a historic pay-per-view.
It's going to be a big deal. So we will see you then. Thanks so much for listening. And Goots316 says, go fuck yourself. We'll talk to you then, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.